Pickle! Hit the air sign. Yes, y'all! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show online. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. Somebody who looks so nice today that I was suspicious that I had forgotten. I was very worried that I'd forgotten some sort of big meeting. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy. Thank you.
It was like a. I meant it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I hope you took it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I was like, Pickle looks very nice. Oh God, what's wrong?
You did. I will say, before in other times I've looked nice, you've just gone, what did I forget?
Yes.
This time you said, you look very nice. What did I forget?
Exactly right.
You prefaced it well this time.
Yes. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022, 190 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday. Happy 70th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who turned 70 today?
I don't.
Happy birthday to the pride of Pearsall High School,
Okay.
Pearsall Maverick.
Oh, I should know this.
George Strait is 70 today.
Yes. Wow, the king. Happy birthday to the king. Dude, he's coming to Dickies Arena, and I would love to get there.
I bet those are not cheap tickets.
No.
Episode 1388. On today's show, my friends, we're going to have a special guest here in just a moment to do This Week in Recruiting. And then back half of the show, that special guest, the aforementioned special guest, talked with the recruiting coordinator at Marlin High School, Charles Hitchens, who has been very busy lately.
Mm-hmm.
Very busy. So we'll hear from Marlin recruiting coordinator Charles Hitchens coming up here at the back half of the program. Without further ado, Pickle, let's bring in our very special guest remotely. It's our buddy Greg Powers. So let's try this. All right, we haven't done this in a minute. Let's see if we can do this, Powers. I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. Wow. I got to be on.
Wow.
Something I've realized, Powers, and I don't know if you agree with this. Chicken Express is great every day. The fact that we do this segment on Wednesday is problematic for me because Wednesday does feel like the perfect Chicken Express day.
Oh, man, it's Chicken Express season, if you ask me, because when 7 on 7 starts, that's the time that I get off of Dr. Pepper and get on the Chicken Express sweet tea. And I've got a gallon of it sitting right now in my refrigerator. So I'm back on sweet tea for the summer.
Do they still do the actual gallon, or do they do the bag? A lot of people have transitioned to gallon bags.
They still do the gallon.
The gallon, okay.
Man, you know why? Because they care about the customer.
Absolutely.
Because the jug is...
It's better.
The jug is better. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to today, Powers. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Let's go to the Houston area to talk about their Klein Forest 2023 defensive end, Brad Spence. 6'2", 225, about to pick up his 30th offer. He picked up offers this week from Arizona State, Colorado State, Louisiana, Howard, Alabama State. He's already got offers from Texas and SMU and Colorado, Mississippi State. He's the real deal, and he's a guy that, we talk about the eyeball test. No doubt about the eyeball test with Brad Spence.
Yeah, and is it fair to call a guy that's closing in on 30 offers a sleeper? I guess it is from the standpoint that, we've talked about this so many times, leading up to what's going to be what I think is one of the most wild national signing days we've seen in a while in 2023. This 2023 class in Texas is special. And Brad Spence is a guy that we haven't probably shined enough spotlight on over the last few months. This is one of the most physically imposing guys in the entire state. He really passes the eyeball test. He's one of those hybrid defensive end outside linebackers. He does a lot of, more naturally standing up and getting after the ball downhill on tape, but could probably grow into be more of a guy that could spend some time with his hand in the dirt, but just a guy that you'd like to see pin his ears back, get after the quarterback. But I have to tell you, I really like his ability to chase down the run. We talk about these hybrids all the time, and I think that a lot of the times we're like, oh, well, he's a pass rushing specialist. Well, Brad Spence can do that, but I love his aggression towards the football and limiting the opposition's rush attack. And that's what really makes him special to me. And he has that frame to really lower the boom once he gets to the ball carrier. And keep an eye on his younger brother. He has a younger brother, outside linebacker Trent Smith, already 6'3", 200, who's just a freshman or getting ready to be a sophomore at Klein Forest next season.
Yeah, apologies and condolences to the Spence food budget. Tough scene there with Brad Spence and his brother Trent Spence. But keep an eye on Brad Spence, 2023 defensive end out of Klein Forest. Let's get to our commit of the week. And finally, I've been begging you for years to get the Coppell Cowboys on This Week in Recruiting. Cowboy fight never dies. Braxton Myers, the star cornerback out of Coppell, has committed to USC. over offers from places like Arkansas, Auburn, Clemson, and LSU. He's number 24 on the DCTF Hot 100. He's a 4-star prospect, according to us. And look, I don't want to say that he's special, but he does go to Coppell, and that certainly sets him apart.
Well, it's interesting. He picked USC over a pretty good array of schools, Arkansas, Auburn, Clemson, and LSU. His father played at Alabama, but Alabama didn't make that final cut, so that was pretty interesting to me. He's going to go play his college ball for Lincoln Riley out west, who probably built a pretty good relationship with him at OU before he decided to go and take over the reins for the Trojans program. Myers is one of those guys who is technique sound. You know, he really understands how to lock down the opposition. He's a big physical guy at the cornerback position, all of 6'1", 185. I think he could probably play some safety if he needed to, but why waste his skills there when he can take you on one-on-one and lock you down? That's a pretty important skill set. So USC got the top-rated commitment from the state of Texas this week, but there were also a couple of other really big commitments as it relates to Texas programs. Cordell Russell recommitted to TCU. He's a big physical wide receiver, and the Horned Frogs had him, well, really the Horned Frogs staff had him committed at SMU and TCU. He decommitted, but after surveying the landscape, he's back in the fold now with Sonny Dykes over in Fort Worth. And Baylor picked up a big commitment from Mineola athlete Dawson Pendergrass. So it was a really busy week in the Lone Star State as some big commitments came off the board.
Yeah, but let's be clear. The biggest one is Coppell's Braxton Myers committing to USC.
How many times are you going to say it?
I just don't know. I mean, I can't recall a bigger commitment, maybe ever. Anyway, big news there for Braxton
I wasn't
Myers.
trying to lessen the importance of that commitment, Tim. I wasn't trying to lessen it.
It's huge. Cowboy fight never dies. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, next athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TFC. Whatever. If there was a Lano commit, you'd be doing the same thing.
Oh, dude, I would be repping the flag. We're just waving it over here.
Let's move on to our underclass.
Let's make this pact. Let's make a pact. If there's a Lano commit, they can be they can get all the honors in the notebook for
even like underclassmen of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like he's a senior. Let's get to our underclassmen of the week, the aforementioned underclassmen of the week. Let's go to Frisco Centennial to talk about their soon-to-be junior running back Harry Stewart III. He picked up an offer this week from Texas A&M. He's already got an offer from Baylor. This is a guy who ran for 1,800 yards as a sophomore last year for Frisco Centennial and is obviously shooting up recruiting charts. If A&M is noticing you, and especially I would say if A&M is noticing you at the running back spot, then you're doing something right if you're about to be a junior.
I'd have to check my notes, but I think this is the second running back offer that they've made in the class of 2024. They've also extended, or at least in the state of Texas, they've also extended an offer to Jeremy Payne out at Fort Bend Hightower. So these two guys also have a very similar skill set to me. They're both in that 5'10", 200-pound range and are very electric with the football in their hands, have great open field moves, and Harry Stewart especially is a great pass catcher coming out of the backfield. And when his first two offers are both of the P5 level coming from in-state, one from the SEC and one from the Big 12, I think we're really just starting to see the tip of the iceberg on what's going to happen in his recruitment. He's been on our radar for a while. You know, he was the district 5-5A newcomer of the year in 2020 and started as a freshman. So he's been picking up, at least locally, as local here, as I live in Frisco, he's been picking up a lot of attention, and a lot of people know who he is, and he's just now starting to break out. So it was a perfect timing to be able to have him be the underclassman of the week. Be surprised if he's a name that, most people are familiar with by the time he signs his name on the dotted line of a letter of intent.
Get to know the name Harry Stewart, the running back there from Frisco Centennial, picked up an A&M offer this week. Let's round it all out with our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is Reed McKeska, the tight end from Bridgeland, one of the top targets for Connor Wigman the past couple of years. He has been a longtime Clemson commit. That is no more. He has decommitted from Clemson. He's reopened his recruitment. That's going to take some sifting through, considering he has 45 offers. And a guy who now has opening things up He's the number two tight end in the state, according to our rankings at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And suddenly wide open there with Reed McKeska, a guy who certainly is no stranger to high-flying offenses.
Got to think Texas A&M and Connor Wigman are in his ear about coming to College Station, but one team I'm really keeping a close eye on in this now is Oklahoma. They extended him an offer just a matter of days before or hours before he decommitted from Clemson. He's already scheduled an official visit to go see OU. So this is a program I'm really watching very closely in McKeska's recruitment. He's also scheduled an official visit to go see Florida on June 17th. So he has 2 of his NCAA allowable 5 official visits already on the books. It'll be interesting to see how this one now plays out. Will he take his time, or will he find that perfect fit once he steps on campus and call it? Obviously, he's not a guy that's afraid to make the early call if he feels like he's found his destination. And right now, I just kind of feel like this is OU's to lose. I mean, with 45 scholarship offers, there's a lot of other pokers in the fire to try to get him to reconsider that. But right now, just based on the timing of everything, it seems like the Sooners are in pretty good shape here.
One guy who's always in pretty good shape is Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, I miss you desperately. Please come in next Wednesday so that I'm just not sad all the time. Pickle will tell you I've just been sad all day knowing that you're not coming in. So
You've been sad.
yeah, I know you've been crestfallen. So
Miss you, bud.
I miss you guys too, and I'll try to be there next week. I'll do my best.
thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. There he goes,
See ya.
Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete, our recruiting analyst here for This Week in Recruiting. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hey, if you want to get the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands, well, okay, we can also throw up the athletes.
When you said, hey, with a pregnant pause after it, I was like, it's my time.
If you want to get the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Let me do this. Let me make sure I'm not showing anything. You know what these are?
Pages.
These are actual pages of the magazine. Now they'll be on nicer paper than this. This is just from our printer, and I'm reading.
They also
and stuff
won't be
like
in
that.
black and white.
They also won't be in black. These are actually in color.
Oh, the
so,
ones you
yes.
put on my desk are in black
The
and
ones
white.
I put on your desk are in black and white. But anyway, if you want to see what these pieces of paper say, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to get the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it's newsstands. TexasFootball.com/subscribe makes a great gift as well. Do it for George Strait's birthday. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Pickle.
Crushed it.
Thank you. Let's talk about our friends at Athletes to Athletes. Did you know that 35% of college athletes quit their sport or transfer schools by the end of their sophomore year? It's because most high school athletes only consider athletics when picking a college. They skip over the other important factors like college major, location, scholarships, long-term goals. With so much to consider, how do you make sure you're choosing the right school? That's where Athletes to Athletes comes in. Athletes to Athletes is a college counseling program built specifically for the student athletes and their families. They provide a holistic approach to help you find the college program that best fits all of your needs, both on and off the field. Do me a favor, go to athletesToAthletes.com/DC today to schedule your free info session and see how they can help you find the best college program for you. That's athletesToAthletes.com/DC to see our friends at Athletes to Athletes. Pickle, we kicked him off the internet, but we earlier this week, our good friend Greg Powers, perhaps you remember him from the previous segment, he got to have a great conversation with the recruiting coordinator of Marlin, Charles Hitchens. Now, Marlin has become like ground zero for recruiting lately.
In any classification,
Like,
honestly.
Let alone the 2A level. So Charles Hitchens has been a busy man.
Yeah.
So if you've ever wanted to hear from somebody who's doing a lot on the recruiting side at the high school level, here is Greg Powers' conversation with Marlin recruiting coordinator Charles Hitchens here on Texas Football Today.
Greg Powers with Dave Campbell's Texas Football, man, and I'm thrilled to be joined by one of the top recruiting coordinators, assistant coaches in Texas high school football, Charles Hitchens. Man, thanks for joining me today, Coach. And just kind of talk about what it's been like in Marlin this spring with so many. Looking at your Twitter even tonight, you had major colleges coming through there today. What's it been like just having all those guys coming through all the time?
I'll tell you, Greg, it's been a great opportunity for our kids. Just to like one thing I really recognize and I tell our guys is that hey, opportunity don't just happen like that. But when you get that opportunity and you got guys that's coming in, then you got to take full advantage of it. We're a small school, we're 2A, and I let everybody across the Twitter world know like, hey, we're a small school, but we have athletes here. And so, as you can see with the Darren Gillette, Marlin Lofton, Trey John Butler, a couple guys that's in that 23 class who is really setting the example for our kids. So those ones who are in middle school and they're coming up, they're saying it like, hey, man, I don't have to go down the street to up the street to Chilton, to Waco, to Bremont, wherever, to College Station. I can do it right here in Marlin. So it's been great.
A lot of that's probably built off the success the team had on the field last year, giving those guys a chance to shine deep into the playoffs. What's the atmosphere around the program been like? And I know that there's probably some anticipation to get back out there, lace them up, and make a run for that state championship, because I know that those guys feel a little bit or have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder heading into that 2022 season now.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you this: with the phenomenal football season that we did have, transition into basketball, the things we did in that, and then transition into track, which we're coming off a state run in track. We finished 3rd overall, and so now our guys are like, wow, like right now we're ready for football again. And so it's one of those things where Marlin has gotten back to the place of winning. Had a winning season. Everybody is excited. We have young guys that's coming up that's ready to buy in to what Coach Torres is doing around that. He's been doing a great job, and so like it's almost like when you do it, it's like cancer. Like they ready to go. And so everybody is trying to get on this wagon, and we're trying to take it and do it. So there's a lot of excitement around there.
I think you kind of set up my next question, because I was going to ask you a little bit about Coach Torres and what it takes to be a part of a team like what you guys have put together, because I know the hard work you guys put in behind the scenes to not only have a successful program on the field, but you guys are really working and putting in those extra hours to make sure that your kids there get recruited.
Yes, sir. So, well, I will say, after sitting down with Coach Torres, like he wants that. He wants that for our kids, because coming into our program, they do so much, they sacrifice so much. So we make it our best interest to make sure that those who really want to go and play at the next level, that we have a platform set up for those guys to get looked at, And we tell our kids all the time, it's not, everybody's not going to be a Power 5 guy or, a big time Division 1 or Division 2. Like, we got all types of kids that's running around there, like from NIA, D3, D2. And so just making sure that me and Coach Torres are really connecting with coaches and even other coaches on our coaching staff, that we have those connections for our kids. So if they want those opportunities, we're able to open that door for them. So it's been really good. He's been really giving me, the green light and being hands-on with a lot of recruiting, just to help our guys. So it's been great.
I've been in the recruiting game a long time now. Try to help a lot of programs myself as much as I can. And, it's just like one of those things that you have to kind of be on the off hours to be good at it. You have to really study how to be good at it. And all the time I get coaches coming to me and asking, Greg, how can I do something a little bit better to help my kids get exposure? Or, what can I do to get more kids on the radar? You guys have done an excellent job there. Do you have any tips for success for maybe some of the, the young recruiting coordinators in the game that are watching you do this, how you've kind of built up your strategy there? Is there any keys that maybe, or advice that you would give some of those guys if they ask you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Once again, I paid attention to a lot of guys who have really helped me along the way. I would like to give a shout out to Coach Carpenter, who actually introduced me to you guys on the Next Level Athlete platform. The guy that's at La Vega, of course.
Right.
Give a shout out to head coach Antonio Sinclair, who's a head coach at Lakeview Centennial, and he's really has given me some tips. But one thing for sure, I knew what I had in myself, meaning like I love networking, I love talking to people, and in this profession, if you're going to be a recruiting coordinator, you got to be able to talk, and you can't be afraid of guys. Hey, no, you don't have no guys for us, or yes, we like your guys. And so I think with myself never being afraid of a no from a college coach or whoever, just getting out there really connecting. Like I use Twitter like for everything, because that's where the coaches are, and like I tell people, like I'm at a 2A school, and in the state of Texas, football is king. So you talking from 6A all the way down. So you got 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A. That's for classification before you even hit 2A. So my secret is just getting out there talking. And I'm going to push my kids just as hard as any recruiting coordinator that's up in the 6A. Other guys I want to give a shout out to is Coach Mann, who is at Lubbock, out in Lubbock, who came from Cedar Hill. He's gave me some really great pointers on the recruiting thing because he's big with the recruiting. So I'll kind of connected with him. And then also Coach O, who's over at Ferris, who's really took me under his wing, and introduced me to other people. So it's just networking, and not being afraid to put your kids out there. You can't be afraid of no.
I think I love that, man. Never be afraid of no. I think that's a really good
Yes, sir.
a beacon to shine out there for people, because it is hard sometimes to hear that no,
Yes, sir.
It can be tough. So to be able to take that in stride and try to find those right fits, you have to hear some of those no's to get that, that one very important yes.
Yes, sir.
Now that we talked a little bit about business, man, we get to go to the fun part, which I think is fun because, I love to talk about some of the top players in the Lone Star State, especially when it comes to recruiting. That's my specialty. So
Yes,
I love to talk about these guys, and you guys have one of the best out there, and Darian Goulet. Man, just kind of talk about what the spring has been like, and to have a kid in the program that not only is a great football player on both sides of the ball, really all over the field, whatever you guys ask him to do, he does it. But he's a great basketball player. He's involved in track and field. He just seems to be one of those guys who's around the program. And when you hear him speak, he's such a well-spoken kid. And I'm sure that you guys are really enjoying to see him
yes, sir.
have some of the success.
Yes, sir. Well, one thing about this kid, Darian, man, he's been here since he was in the 6th grade. So he's been in Marlin since he was in the 6th grade. So going on 6 years. And so for him, man, he's just a phenomenal person, outside of sports, whatever. His dad, his family has done a really great job of raising him. He's very humble, works really hard. And when it started off for him, it started off rocky for him because he didn't have a freshman year. He ended up tearing his ACL. Sophomore year, he only played like 3 games. So he didn't get a chance to just really play a full season. So as we were talking going into his junior year, and you see guys on Twitter, his friends and stuff, they getting offers and all of that. So, kids can't help but they get frustrated. So, but just having guys like his dad and family members around along with myself, just telling him, trust the process. Like, you're going to be fine. And so when he really got back up under his feet, he really hit the weights, working hard. And then when he went to the Baylor camp, man, it just took off from there. And so now, like, I tell him, like, this is all you. It has nothing to do with myself, Coach Torres, whatever. Like, he stayed working hard. And now he's seeing he's getting the rewards.
I think you nailed something that's really important too. It's great to be able to, and that's something I like to say too, is you have the talent. We're just the guys here that can sometimes be around to recognize it, but it's all you that's put in the work and got you where you are today. And I think that's really important to note. And another thing is it revolves around, Goulet's world is, he's still in the market. He's still uncommitted. And that's bringing a lot of eyes to look at some of the other top 2023 guys,
Absolutely.
On your team right now. And one guy who really jumped out to me when he came to the Next Level Athlete Showcase was Z Lofton, a defensive back there. He's got a few offers already.
Yes, sir.
Is this guy could this be one of those guys who's right there on the verge of blowing up next?
Yes, sir. He's definitely one of those guys. And even like with that kid, he 3.9 GPA, high academic kid, come from, a great family background, just hungry. He did play at College Station, his freshman and sophomore year. He moved back home to Marlin or whatnot. And so, man, he's right now for him, he's sitting on 3 offers. I look for him to, camp a little bit this season, and I look for him to really take off in the summer because he's getting bigger, he's getting faster, he's getting stronger, and he's a ball player. You don't come across too many of those who really have the athleticism and can think ball. So he's another one that's going to take off.
That lightning bolt on the team, man, Trajan Butler. Man, he's a whole lot of fun to watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean,
we call him Tyreek Hill Jr.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Is he the guy that, like when he gets the ball in his hands, everybody in the stands holds their breath there. That's kind of the way I see him on that team. He's the guy that the fans probably love to see when he gets his hands on the ball.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's one of those ones where, like, there could be 3 people around him, but he runs so low to the ground and he takes very good angles. Like, and he's so fast. He was another one of those guys who was at the state track meet, this past week competing in the 100, 4x1, 4x2. And it shows on the field. Like, when he gets the ball, like, we call him Mr. Touchdown because that's where he's getting. Yes, sir. He gets the end zone.
Yeah, and he's already got some attention too. I saw he's already reported a New Mexico State offer, but there's going to be some young ones coming up here over the next couple seasons. One of the class of 2025 guys I know that y'all are high on was Ty Bell. He's another kid who came out to the next level camp. Looks like he's on the rise. And Jameer Hartsfield. Why don't you kind of break down, why you guys think so highly of him? He could be that next one in y'all's program that really starts to get some P5 interest, I think.
Well, just for Jameer, like he's hard nosed. Like, he plays hard. He's long. Right now he's sitting at about 6 foot, 186. As a sophomore right now, I look for him to kind of grow this summer to hit another 2 inches this summer, and he's going to put some weight on. He plays physical. He was one of those guys that, when the offense was running away from Darian, they'll run from him, and that's where Ty Bell, the freshman, was just cleaning up everything. And so he definitely has the athleticism. And I just kind of look into what a lot of recruiters look into linebackers these days. They look for linebackers who can move, who are athletes, who guys who play 3 sports. And he's one of those guys that's really going to be able to take. Like, he has a nose for it. He can cover. He can do all of it. He can walk down in the box. And so he's just special. And he's another one that really takes time to study the game.
Right. Well, I mean, definitely a lot of talent out there, man, and a wealth of knowledge that you have there, and learning, more and more probably every time one of these big-time colleges stops by to chat you up in your office. So, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to not only educate some of the people who are listening to the program, but to talk about some of those really good talents that you guys have coming back next season. And I do know a lot of people are probably picking to make a run at that state title this year. So a lot of eyes are going to be on Marlin this year, and I'm just happy that you guys are going to be able to enjoy it some.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach Hitchens.
Thank you.
There he is, Charles Hitchens, the recruiting coordinator at Marlin High School. We hear coaches who talk all the time, like, I'm a really good coach whenever I've got like a 5-star quarterback, stuff like that. I imagine you're a really good recruiting coordinator when you've got like Darian Gillette, all those guys. So.
Well, see, and this is the thing, like, I mean, we can peel back the curtain here. This is not a surprise to anyone, but I laid out the 2A pages, and I was going through and looking over the Marlin section. And, yeah, Darian Gillette is the first name that pops up into everyone's brain and stuff. No. And then you look at the stats that the quarterback Woodson had. They are mind-numbing.
No. They're loaded. They're
mind-numbing. And those are only 2 out of, like, the 4 super good kids. But he had, like, 3,500 yards passing last year. It is insane, the stat line that kid has.
They're absolutely loaded. And when you take a look at things now, last year you remember they ran into Hawley in the semifinal.
Mm-hmm. They just turned the ball over too
They
many
turned the
at
ball
times.
over
I
too
was
many
at that
times.
game.
And look, two Division One's and especially Region One's going to be tough. I think Toller's going to be pretty good. Coleman, Italy, Crawford, Alvord, et cetera. But I think right now, if you're asking me, I think Marlin's the favorite in Region 2. And I would be... Hawley brings back a decent amount, and I'd love to see that rematch. Cisco's going to be good.
Yep.
Stratford, remember, moves up. They're a defending champ.
Yep.
I think New Deal's going to be good. All those things. But it is...
New Deal has a kid that can sling it.
But Marlin's going to be... They're going to be a force. And Charles Hitchens is responsible for getting the word out about them, and does a great job down there at Marlin, where we appreciate him taking a little bit of time with Greg Powers earlier this week. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Marlin recruiting coordinator Charles Hitchens and to our own recruiting guru, Greg Powers, for being our guest.
Greg.
For the recently... How would you describe your hair?
I got it done yesterday.
Recently did Ashley Pickle. I'm Greg Tavera. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.